So this was in the early 2010s timeframe, with my girl Jane and her dog Vinny and me. This took place at one of the farms where we boarded our horses together. It is in the mid-Atlantic coast on very old Indian land. I believe there should be a lot of ancient spiritual energy attached to all of it. So one night in the dead of winter, I'm at the barn by myself and am getting my and Jane's stuff together so we can ride. As I am making my way in and out of the tack room with our saddles and bridles, I noticed on one of my trips out of the tack room that one of the barn doors is suddenly open. This door is at the breezeway and doesn't quite fit the frame, as it's warped and is very difficult to open and close, and is also very loud. It was completely shut and latched when I arrived, and there had been no noise. I hadn't been listening to music or anything of the sort, and now that shit was wide open, it didn't add up. I went outside and called out asking if anyone was there. It was so still and so silent. The absence of sound had a sensation, almost like being in a vacuum. That lack of sound in and of itself had me spooked, so I went back inside the barn and slammed the door shut behind me. I was trying not to be a little bitch, so I was stopped and watched the horses. They were all calmly eating hay and just hanging out, so I figured this wasn't anything to get worked up about. Nevertheless, I shoot Jane a text that I'm just gonna wait for her outside under the floodlight, because despite my best efforts, I was still in fact a little bitch, and something just wasn't sitting right with me. And that's exactly what I did till she got there. So as we're walking in, I'm telling her what happened with the door, and she's got Vinny in his little pet carrier thing, and he's of course barking his head off like little Jack Russell terrorists do. And we go into the tack room to get the rest of our stuff, so we can get to riding, and she manages to get him to quiet down as we're talking. We both notice movement out of the corner of our eyes, and turn to face it. On the wall behind us, right over top of Jane's tack trunks, she had all of her bits, the metal parts of the bridle that go into the horses' mouths, hanging from the walls by one side on nails. Hopefully that makes sense. One of the bits, just one, was very, very clearly moving, and not just moving, but being lifted on one end and being let to fall back down, so that it would hit the wall. Once it would stop bouncing off the wall, it would lift again, pause in the air, and then be let down, only to be let to fall back down and hit the wall again. This happened several more times. Vinny explodes into sound. He is not having this shit on his watch. I just remember this feeling of wanting to puke, wanting to cry, wanting to laugh, feeling amazed, feeling terrified, and feeling like I was going to pass out all at once. Jane turned to me, and as soon as she saw the look on my face, she turned to the corner and said very calmly, "You're scaring her. Can you stop, please?" And it did. It never happened again. That was the most impactful encounter I've ever had with any sort of non-corporeal entity. And I know I'm not insane, because someone else who isn't insane also bore witness to that event. We actually ended up just jumping on our horses bareback that night for a couple minutes instead of tacking them up with saddles and bridles, since it was cold AF and things were obviously fucking insane, and we were feeling like the bare minimum was good enough at that particular juncture. I know that energy can be attached to places and things, but I believe people can be haunted too. I believe my girl Jane for sure is. I'm amazed by it. I really miss her. Ever since I got out of horses, she and I have fallen out of regular contact, but I still love her all the same.